Why he fighting this? Why? What is his goal?
Do you understand the words that come out of my mouth?
Welcome back to the Immigrant Section. I'm your host, Abbas Wahab, and in the studio today we got the motherfucking Quinn C. Martin. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Thanks for coming through, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Apologize about the scheduling fuck up yesterday.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
The Canadian election is popping off.
Yeah, big
motherfuckers
business.
in the studios.
Yeah, no.
Who are you voting for, huh?
Conservative.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always? You always vote conservative?
No, I'm just a small business owner. It's gonna help me in the long run.
Oh shit, that's
Right.
what I'm talking about.
You heard
is
me
this
say that.
the like rental properties and shit?
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then like as you know, when you're an entertainer, I mean, you're a small business yourself, depending on how you're running your finances, right?
True. Good point, man. That's some grown man talk about comedy, bro. I'm out here at open mics. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, small business, man. I just did 4 minutes and took 3 comedians that I know on their cell phones. So I don't know nothing about a small business.
Oh
bro.
man,
Man, but straight up though, Quinn, Toronto, comic I met in the Toronto scene, motherfucker, is out here actually making money. God damn, bro. You're out here making
bit.
a salvate, you know?
it's a little bit.
Pulling up with. It's nice seeing someone get a nice car with comedy money. That's just reassuring to see, man. You know, so what do you think? Because you know, I told you I used to have a nice car, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? Now you've had a nice whip for probably 6 months now. When did you buy that car?
So it's over a year now.
Okay, over a year.
It's almost a year. This is 11 months now. I had it.
Did the novelty wear off? Or
No, it never wears off.
Never wears off, huh?
No, it never wears off. Never.
Fuck it. Okay, we're talking about a Cayenne. Okay, this motherfucker's got a Porsche Cayenne. Okay, I know there's people listening like, man, just say the fucking car, man.
You should let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah, no, I had to say it. If I was listening, I'd lose my mind.
I had the nicest car I had before this was an Infiniti G20.
G20, the new, what is
No. I'm talking like this was like 2000 and like, oh man, this is like a 03.
Yeah, I don't even know about the
that.
G20.
It was wild, man.
Was it kind of like the G37 back in the day? Was
Yeah,
it a two-door?
absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
yeah.
I used to have one of those, but no, it was 4-door, and then I had Beamer for a bit, and then that was.
What do you think about the Beamer? It drives.
Oh,
it
it's super
drives
smooth.
nice, man.
Oh, it's super smooth. Yeah.
Planet.
No, it was wild, and I had the V12 engine and all that. Yeah, it was
You had
crazy.
the 8 Series?
Yeah, no, it was a 7 Series, but
Okay, you had the 760?
it was a 750.
What's that? I thought the 750 was a V8.
No. This one was a V12. I promise you.
Okay,
Yeah.
goddamn. I thought
When I put the listen,
Yeah.
when you touch the gas,
Yeah.
it was gone. But yeah, it was a 12.
Gone right to the gas station.
V12.
Huh?
Yes, right to the gas station.
You're just
Yeah,
going from
but it
shell
moved.
to shell.
It moved.
Fuck yeah, man.
So I had that for a bit, and then I was just chilling, and then
You've been a car guy, but are you
I haven't
first?
been a car guy. No, I'm not. I don't know all the specifics. When you get around car guys and they're talking about cars,
Yeah.
I'm not a car guy.
Yeah, you tune
I'm
out.
only good at one
I-
thing, and there's only one thing I know about:
Shoes?
telling these jokes.
Oh,
That's all I know.
thought you were gonna say shoes because you're
Nah.
definitely a shoe. You're a sneakerhead, 100%.
100%.
There's no debate.
Yeah, there's no debate. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite shoe, bro?
Ewings.
The
Till I
Ewing?
die. Yeah, I remember growing up and always wanted a pair of Ewings.
Is it because the player or like with the?
A little bit of both, because Patrick Ewing's Jamaican. So, he my uncle hung around with him.
Is he from
sometimes.
Toronto, Patrick Ewing?
No, he's Jamaican.
Okay, all right. So,
Yeah.
I'm saying did he grow up here or anything? Like
No, not at
that?
all.
Saying your uncle hung around him, like
Yeah, absolutely.
like back
yeah.
in Jamaica.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Oh, he came from Jamaica straight to the NBA.
No, he played for Georgetown.
Oh,
man.
okay.
You didn't follow basketball, did you?
No, not at all.
No, he played for Georgetown, and then, but the whole thing was like growing up in the '80s and the '90s was you wanted to watch, pretty much Jordan because he was the greatest.
GOAT.
He was exhibiting, the greatest play at the time. I mean, you kind of wanted the Knicks to win. You kind of wanted to see somebody else do good, but they were just so dominant.
Were the Knicks the bad boys?
No, the Detroit
The
Pistons
were the bad boys. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Oh, yeah. I was
Yeah.
just going to say, they had the
Yeah.
absolute fucking worst reputation.
Yeah, well, that was arch rivals. If you can It's an old video game called Arch Rivals, or an arcade game where you could basically punch people and take the ball. That's what
that's what the Bad Boys, right?
The Bad Boys were. Yeah, totally.
They're just fighting.
I don't know if you've seen that meme online where it said all the new rappers now are dressed like Dennis Rodman in '96. Yo, you should check that meme out.
Because Dennis Rodman had crazy fashion.
He had the green hair, and he had all the piercings and all that stuff or whatever. Yeah. So,
How do you compare that time with Michael Jordan being the GOAT versus right now with LeBron being the GOAT?
Well, I mean, LeBron's just not the GOAT. I mean, he's a really good basketball player, and he's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest basketball players.
But you don't think he's the GOAT?
He can't be.
Well, how come?
Statistically, he can't be. And
didn't he pass Jordan in a lot of stats?
Because he played longer. Remember, Jordan had a 3-year break.
So
right?
You're looking at just rings.
Well, Jordan has 6 rings, 6 Finals MVPs, and 5 season MVPs. Bron doesn't have that. Jordan has more trophies than LeBron altogether. Jordan has a Defensive Player of the Year award. They don't have that. He doesn't have that.
Okay, so you're looking at pure stats, but when you watch the gameplay,
Jordan was next level, man.
Yeah,
it was. We used to watch it and just in awe, like, here he is, he's just gonna score again.
Yeah,
it was just, how is he gonna embarrass the next player?
I was gonna say Jordan, you can't compare because he's so much more ruthless, and he did humiliate people. Like he really
embarrassed people.
He ruined people's careers.
Give me an example of how he would humiliate you.
Look how he did OJ Mayo. OJ Mayo's out of the league, right? OJ Mayo was like, Reggie Miller has the same story where Reggie Miller was like, yo, I thought you was the best, Michael Jordan. Like, you think you're the best? You only have 2 points at the half. And Jordan's like, all right, cool. Jordan scored 44 points that game. Right on Reggie Miller.
42 on the second half?
In the second half, he scored 42 points. Right on Reggie Miller.
It's like a video game.
I'm never doing that again. Then OJ Mayo was on. OJ Mayo was he was talking trash and all that stuff in like one of Jordan's camps. And he's like, yeah, all right, cool. So he beat him 11-0 on a one-on-one game, right?
Wow.
And then that was just,
and he was an NBA player.
Him. Yeah, it mentally destroyed him. And then OJ Mayo got caught up in a couple of drug, substance abuse.
And mentally destroyed him?
He could never play again. OJ Mayo's out of the league.
From that one-on-one game, you could trace the ending of his career.
Absolutely.
Jesus, what team did this guy play for?
He embarrassed anybody. Well, he played for Memphis for a while, but before he played for the Bucks, he played for Memphis. He bounced around for a bit, but those are the 2 main teams he was on. But then he was out of the league. He was in China after a while.
Holy shit.
Jordan used to just embarrass people. It wasn't even... I remember Gerald Wilkins played for the Cavs, and I remember he said he was a self-proclaimed Jordan stopper. And Jordan just dropped.
He said that, in interviews and shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop him.
And then he just dropped 52 on him like it was nothing.
And that guy was like never to be seen again.
And he was a great 3-point shooter. Don't get it twisted, right? Him and Craig Elo, they were great 3-point shooters, and Mark Price, they were all great 3-point shooters on the Cavs. But Jordan used to just embarrass these guys.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just domination on a different level.
Absolutely.
Huh? What do you think about now? Did you notice? You obviously for sure know this, but I feel like ever since, and I've only really gotten into basketball these last 3-4 years, I feel like ever since Golden State has been beginning to take over, the whole league is now focusing on 3-point shots.
Well, yeah, I mean, the style of game has changed. It's just evolving, right? If you're a really good shooter, I mean, that's what's happening now. Basketball in the 80s, from when I watched, in the 90s, was about toughness.
Okay, like posting up hard as shit.
You had to be a pretty big dude. All those guys were. Barkley was a big dude. Think of all of these guys:
Shaq.
Kevin Williams, Shaq, Elijah just had all the post moves because the center was like a big key position in the game. You needed the toughness, just like you need Draymond Green on the on the Golden State Warriors. You need the tough guys, right? So. But that's what the game was then. But then now they're calling more and more fouls. The game has evolved into, it's not as tough as it used to be. So now it's you can get away with a lot more, and that's why shooting kind of evolved. At least that's what I think.
So going into like the key is now like they
call way more fouls.
Got it. Okay, so they kind of stick to the outside and like focus on threes and
no, it's just like the shooting is the easier thing to do because there's just so much more fouls that are being called, whether it's going to be driving, whether it's going to be outside shots. It's a softer league. It's just not what it was. It wasn't as tough as it was. Back then you can really get beaten up in there and no one's calling fouls. Now they call any foul.
Anything.
Yeah. So
it's just less efficient as well to like drive to the key, risk fouls when you could be more productive, get off a higher total number of shots by just shooting accurately from the top of the key. Golden State probably is like definitely the most famous, prevalent example of like that change happening. But Patrick Ewing was like, and like
Klay Thompson.
Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is going to be the best backcourt of all time, and in which case Steph Curry is going to be the greatest backcourt. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What's backcourt?
Well, because they're both guards. So I would say Klay is a shooting guard, and Steph Curry runs a point. So they're back. That's called backcourt.
Who's your team? Who's your team in the NBA?
I never had a team, man.
Yeah. What do you think about Raptors this year? We're done.
No, I mean I'm happy about the Raptors. I mean, you got to cheer for the hometown team no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean like anywhere I go, I'm obviously cheering for the Raptors.
But past spirit and just supporting the local team. Do you think we're done without Kawhi? You think? Or
I think we're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it.
Out of like kind of like momentum from last year.
Well, my theory is that if we have to play Kawhi and the Clippers in the finals, hypothetically, I think he would have our number.
Yeah?
Because he's that good a player. He's the best two-way player in the league, right?
Damn, that guy was something else, huh?
Yeah, next level.
He got worshipped, too. He was in the market to just... They were ready to worship someone, anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And then DeRozan is gone, obviously.
Oh, DeRozan's been gone, though. He was gone while he was on our team.
I remember when I first moved to Toronto,
DeRozan
billboards everywhere.
Yeah, I was the first guy. I was on, get rid of DeRozan. And people like, no, I think he's good. I'm like, no, get rid of him. He can't play in the playoffs. He succumbs to the pressure. And then he was open. He was open about his mental health issues.
Yeah,
and
you can't be.
It's taken. No. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that it took him out of the game mentally, right?
Gotcha.
And that's why, like, that was that series against Cleveland when we got blanked for 4 games. They swept us, and I think it was a third game. I mean, he was on the bench. I think maybe with 10 minutes left in the third quarter, right until the end of the game. They did not have DeRozan on the floor.
And he's the starting...
DeRozan was the highest paid player on the team. And he was not on the floor, right? And what's his name? Dwayne Casey. I think he took a lot of the heat for it. I think he was like, I thought we had the best team on the floor, and I don't believe that that's what it was. I think he was mentally out of the game, and it's very difficult to coach that right now. No one's found a way to really coach up a lot of play. Like, so for example, Kevin Love, a lot of players' anxiety and stuff like that, and he's very open about having these things.
That's new age thing where these athletes are like
everybody has anxiety.
Right.
It's the newest thing in the world.
We all have anxiety.
It is a natural emotion that we all have.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
people make it seem like, I have it and it's a disability. Like, no. Everybody gets it.
Yeah, it's standard.
You know what I mean? It's
like
a
happiness,
standard.
sadness, anxiety.
Same thing.
I have it
Same thing.
Fucking hard, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I would imagine people have it worse than others. I mean, I'm not going to debate that.
Some people you can actually see it being debilitating.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it was affecting DeRozan's play. Right?
Yeah,
so I think that was the wiser move. And people, no. I can't believe it. Why would anybody trade this guy? This guy's garbage. Like, he cannot play in the playoffs.
In the clutch.
He can't do it.
Yeah. There's nothing more satisfying. That's the thing that goes past sports fans or whatever. Like, witnessing somebody in the clutch who kills it, that thing is like... It translates to every language. Bro. It's like you don't need to.
Yeah,
just
Kawhi was ice cold.
Yeah.
He knew we wouldn't have a championship.
Yeah,
if Kawhi wasn't on the team and DeRozan was there in his place, we wouldn't have a championship, hands down.
I mean, that exact scenario you just said was 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, right?
Yeah,
and like it's not even a hypothetical. It's just, it did not happen for him.
100%. You do that trade 100 times over, no matter what.
Have you been a basketball fan your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of fell off, when I was, sort of leaving high school and Jordan retired again. And, I sort of fell off. I wasn't really into ball. Baseball is my favorite sport, so I watch
Baseball is your favorite sport?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea, man.
I watch a lot of baseball.
Legit.
Yeah,
How did baseball? Because you all grew up in Scarborough, didn't you?
Yes.
Scarborough is like a
What do you think? It's not a hood. Don't listen to this guy.
Toronto.
Don't listen to this guy. It's not a hood. Like I live in a nice area, man. Like I grew up in a nice area.
Did you? Where did you?
So
Tell me about that shit.
Okay, let's start.
Your mom.
Let's start with baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, the way it worked was my parents obviously came from Jamaica, and I mean they came in the 70s. So my father came, I think, in 1970. I think my mother came in 74, 75, around then. And well, I mean, back home in Jamaica, all they have is pretty much cricket, and yeah, of course, yeah,
Soccer.
Exactly, cricket and soccer.
Football, yeah.
And so, I mean, this is like the 70s.
Yeah.
So TSN wasn't playing any soccer. It's not like now you can get soccer all day on, one of the 7 TSN channels on your TV, right? Or any of the sports channels for that matter. And cricket, yeah, good luck. Like you're not finding that. So cricket was sort of similar to baseball. And at that time, especially in the 70s, there was a lot of black baseball players. A lot of them. It wasn't like
more than now.
Well, now you have more,
Are you talking about black as in African American?
As in African American, yes.
and
Now you have more, Latin, black players. But at that time, it was a lot of African American players. There were Jamaican players. There were a lot of people who played baseball, and it was very relatable, and it was somewhat similar. I mean, there were subtle similarities to cricket. Baseball had to cricket. And so my parents started watching baseball. And then we just got the Jays in 77. So before I was born anyway. But so it was kind of the thing around the city. We'd go to the X and everyone was watching, Exhibition Stadium. Everyone was watching baseball. It was really big.
Blue Jays were big at the time?
Blue Jays were huge. I mean, we just got the team in 77, right? That's when they did
won
the Canadian
Major League?
No, they just got the expansion. So they got the Jays in 77 and the Montreal Expos in 77. I think it was the same time. It might have been the same time, yeah. But yeah, and it was a big thing. So we grew up watching baseball. Baseball was what we did. We would watch baseball on TV as a family, Yeah.
Did you guys play baseball, or was it
Absolutely.
Just okay, hell yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We played baseball. I was pretty good. My brother was
were you
good
a hitter,
too.
a pitcher, or what?
I was everything, man. I was like, I was nice. I was everything but the catcher. I was nice, man.
Yo, I sometimes go to Etobicoke to hit up those batting cages, bro.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling in the world, man.
Yeah, I was nice.
Just batting
I was
cage.
nice at baseball,
Yeah?
man. My brother was dope too. My brother was more the athlete of the family. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's just monstrosity of a human being. He's like 6'3", he's like 250 pounds, and
He's still killing it athletically?
I mean, he played rugby for a really long time now. So he's like 41 now, so I think he's chilling. But
Is that why you were making jokes and shit? Because that
what?
guy, no, I'm saying like that guy was out there like killing it in sports. You're like, man, fuck him.
I made jokes because I got bullied a lot when I was younger. I was
legit, eh?
So
I can't see that, man.
I was 5'3", like 100 pounds up until I was like 18. That was when I had my first growth spurt. So I was always like the small guy in high school.
Were you marking your height at home?
Everyone did that.
No, you
Of
did
course.
that.
Of course, everyone did
yeah,
that. Yeah. So,
But you were excited as shit when you saw it popping off?
yeah, I think when I was 18, I shot up to 5'10". And I remember I was dating this girl. She was a model. And she was like 6'1", and I used to be walking her like extra straight.
On the tippy toe?
So walking around straight,
Trying to keep that spine straight.
I was straight,
Yo,
what I mean?
pull my hands real quick. Pull on my arms real quick.
Yeah. I shot up to 5'10". I didn't grow again until I was in college. I was about 2002, and then I grew up to about 6'1".
Hell yeah.
And then that was it. But I was always super skinny. I didn't start putting on any weight until I was about 27. Because I was always like 100 and when I hit 6'1", I was still like 160 pounds.
Oh, you were just like a lanky dude.
Bones, lanky is the word, bro. And super.
You couldn't put weight on.
Hell no.
So what changed? Just metabolism slowing down?
Yeah, metabolism slowing down. I mean, I was like eating McDonald's and pizza and stuff like that, and then you just start thinking to yourself, it's never gonna happen to me.
Yeah.
At this point, if it's not gonna happen, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then it started happening.
But you were happy with it though.
A little bit, yeah. I think I got too big at some certain points, but like even now, like I could shave off another 10. But I'm happier now. I was bigger than I was before. Now, I was about 28, 29, so I'm good now. Yeah.
So
So
you sorry, keep going.
I don't know. It's like Because you asked me like 7-8 questions. And I ain't answer all.
Yeah, I'm jumping
from
all over the
Scarborough.
place,
I'm
man.
like, whatever. Go
Well,
ahead,
I
man.
said
You got all the
Scarborough.
questions. You
Man,
got all the questions.
You going in on me about this? That's
got all the questions.
That's the name of the game, bro. Here, let me just look at my list. Okay.
Stop this.
Ewing, so we covered that.
This guy don't even have a list.
Jordan versus LeBron.
That's your
We covered
Tinder.
this shit.
That's your LinkedIn. You just got a job notification.
Imagine, yo, I'm off of LinkedIn, bro. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
going on LinkedIn and just starting to post shit like
Why not?
About being like, I left the corporate world and these are all the benefits, just all that kind of
Why
shit.
not? Why not?
Just to fuck with people.
Why not? Who cares?
You fuck with your LinkedIn at all?
Nah, I mean I have a LinkedIn.
Does it say
cares?
comedian?
It says comedian. I don't know what it says. It says something. I don't even think I have a picture on there.
Bro,
Just
man,
wild.
I'm so depressed anytime I just for some reason LinkedIn opens up and I see the what's it called, the news feed, and there's
Yeah.
so much activity. There's so much corporate fucking activity. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's such a turnoff, man.
Yeah. So what do I know?
What's it called? We mentioned Scarborough, but when
Yeah.
did you get into comedy, bro? And what do you remember, like the moment where you were like, "Yo, I could do this shit"? Because the way I grew up, man, I never actually thought I could do it. And when it switches, when I was so fed up with engineering, I was like, "What the fuck? This is garbage." Like,
Yeah.
I got lied to, kind of thing.
Yeah. Of
But
course.
I know you got in earlier than me. You got in like at high school or something like that.
Yeah, so I was like, growing up, I mean, I was always like, kind of like clowning a little bit, and like we used to watch Arsenio Hall a lot, and I used to like imitate Arsenio and try to imitate celebrities, which I can't do any impressions now, but I was decent, I always liked it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to get into it. And then I was, so my man, Andrew Sparks, he lived 2 streets over, and he had a punk band.
Okay.
And I used to kick it with him all the time. We were in the same neighborhood, and I skateboarded. So he skated too, and he actually gave me one of
Damn,
my...
you did grow up in a nice neighborhood. Huh?
I
You
grew
were
up
skateboarding?
in a predominantly white neighborhood.
This nigga
bro.
was
White neighborhood.
So it's
It was no. It was still pretty multicultural. But it was predominantly white, but it was definitely, it was a really nice neighborhood.
You're doing all right.
We were good.
Yeah.
We were good. So yeah, I mean, we used to kick it all the time, and he always thought I was funny.
Yeah.
Always thought I was funny, and he had these killer parties at the crib all the time, and he had a punk band, and everything was real dope. And then he was like, "Listen, man, you got to come through. You got to tell some jokes. Like, you got to do stand-up comedy. You got to tell some jokes." Oh, man, I was 16, easily 16. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that, whatever. And he's like, "Yo, I'm going to make this clear. If you're at my party, you got to tell the jokes. If you're not telling the jokes while we're setting up, you got to leave."
Oh, shit.
And the party was like, his parties were always amazing. There was a lot of people there. There was girls there and everything. And so one day I get to the party, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let me see if I can hide. You know what I mean?
Hide legit.
Like, I was just hiding.
You don't wanna.
Yeah, I didn't want to get.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
scared.
do it.
It's packed.
And then he's like, "Yo, Quinn, you're here." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And he's like, "Hey, listen, man. You know what it is." So I went down there and I told some jokes, and it started out good, but then it kind of trailed off.
Do you remember what you said at all?
No.
It's just kind of like just ranting, saying some of the shit you would tell
No,
your boys.
I had written stuff down.
Okay.
I had
You
written
were
stuff
ready.
down.
You were
yeah,
ready
yeah.
for this.
I had written stuff down, and then so I did. I felt like I did a 5, maybe a little more. I don't know. When you first start, you don't really know the time,
Yeah,
right? So
4 or 3.5.
yeah, who knows what I did? I could have done longer, whatever. And then I just,
Just walked off, kind of thing.
and then Andrew Sparks and his band, I put them on. But yeah, I credit all that to Andrew Sparks. That gave me the bug.
Hell yes.
Yeah,
man.
Andrew did that, man. He's a good dude.
And then after that, it was straight to Yucks, or like
No.
hitting the-
I chilled. I didn't do shit for like a couple years. I didn't do anything. I wrote, and I was like thinking about being a comedian. I wanted to do it, and them times, like, I was like 17, 18, and we're partying and everything, and hanging with the homies, and I'd be partying and I'd be looking at like dudes like, this guy's gonna do this, and this guy's gonna do that, and this guy's going off to university, and this guy's doing this type of business. This guy's already into stocks. And what about you, Quinn? Like, I'm asking myself these questions, and I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna be a comedian. Like, I gotta have my own place. You know what I'm saying?
my own thing.
Yeah. And then I was like, yo, I could do this. Like, I really feel like I could do it. And then I was chilling for a bit. I wasn't doing anything. I had left high school, and I took about a year off. I was just working at a call center. You know, I didn't really know what to do. And I swear to God, I'll never forget it. My man, Nigel Phillip, I ran into him on the bus one day. And just heading home. He's like, yo, what are you saying, man? I'm chilling, whatever. You know, he always remembered me clowning and everything. And he's like, yo, you going to Humber? I'm like, what's going on at Humber? And he's like, yo, there's like a comedy program. I said, word? He's like, yeah, man, you got to check that out, man. That as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's you. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I mean, like, as soon as I got home, I don't know if... This is like
Google
early
it? Was there
2000s.
Google?
Stop this, man. About early 2000s, man. I'm talking
You
about
bust to the library real
I'm talking about I went to the phone booth and looked up Humber in the white pages, you know, and I called and they mail you the calendar.
Yeah.
And, you know, I saw the course and I applied and I went to Humber.
Hell yes, man.
Yeah.
And then, so you started getting, because even back then they had the Tuesday
No.
showcase?
No.
No.
It was Mondays.
It was Mondays.
So Monday was a launching pad. That was called the Monday was a launching pad. It's like fast track. It's like that's like the beginning of getting onto the roster.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now Tuesdays, what they did was they opened it up as the Humber night. Right. So when I went to Humber, I was in the second class of it. Right. The first ever class was the year before me.
Oh, legit?
Yeah, word. Yeah. So I did that, yeah. And
do you remember how many people were in that class?
oh yeah. It was about 60 people or something like that. The first year was a lot, and then it, you know, dwindled down or whatever. But it was about 60 people graduating, about that.
Anybody you know still doing comedy from that class?
Yeah. Nicole Arbor, you know, she's internet famous, man. She's done a lot. You know, she had the big she had a lot of videos. She had the controversial video.
I don't know about that, but I'm not
Shit,
trying
it was
to. I'm not trying
controversial.
to. I guess the book's closed on that. I'm not trying to open it back up.
I'm not trying to open that shit back up either. But you know what? Nicole's my girl and we're cool. So I
Okay.
can't really front on her like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can have friends, they can make, you know, controversial stuff, but they're still gonna be your friends.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
They still treated you right.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like her and I
Yeah.
are still cool. I remember like I used to run into her. I used to work at Winners, and I remember I used to run into her and we would just chop it up for a second or whatever. But Nicole's still doing it. I think she's out in California right now, and she's done
yeah.
a lot. But I think Nicole, and then there's a guy named Marty Adams. Marty Adams is a really dope actor, and he did a lot of stuff with Second City, and you know, a lot of sketch and stuff like that. You've seen him in a lot of stuff. If I showed you Marty, you'd be like, oh man,
that
that's
dude,
Marty.
that dude.
Yeah,
He's one of
and
those
then there's
guys.
what's his name? Rob Bebenek. We was in the same year. Rob Bebenek, yeah, he just went to Just for
He's
Laughs.
still around, right?
Yeah, he just went to Just for Laughs this year. We were on the same Just for Laughs showcase earlier this year.
yeah,
so
I've
there's
seen that
Rob
name
Bebenek.
around.
Yeah, and I'm talking about this is my year.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
year ahead of me, or the year I guess that graduated before me. There's a few people there that are still involved, and quite a few people that are still involved, more so than what my graduating year would have been because I dropped out.
My expectation in my mind is like if you go 15 years, 16, 17 years down the road, there'll be like one or two out of that
and
class
it
of
is like
60.
that.
You
It
know
is
what I
like
mean?
that. So I think it's 3.
Yeah.
I think it's about 3 that I could think of.
You and those other two.
If there's
you just-
anybody
yeah.
else, and I dropped out, so I'm not even in the graduating class.
Oh,
you know what I'm
that's-
saying?
yeah,
but
yeah.
like,
But you
that I
kept in it, though.
But if,
There you
yeah,
go,
and if I
yeah.
run into those people on the street, they're like, "Yo, Quinn's still doing it." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or they're like,
yeah.
"Yo, what's going on?"
They're not like, yeah, you never finished he never graduated.
exactly. Yeah. So, but
You see this Cayenne? I can't hear you through the sound insulation. German sound insulation.
It's got Bose, but it's whatever.
It's whatever. It's like 18 speakers, but who's counting?
But yeah, so yeah, that was kind of the situation there concerning comedy, and yeah, so growing up in Scarborough, I grew up in so I was in a place called Malvern until I was 4. My brother's older than me; he's 4 years older than me, so obviously he was there till he was 8. So I was in Malvern until I was 4, and then from there, my parents bought the house in what is called Rouge Hill, and Rouge Hill is closest to Pickering. I basically lived on the last street of Scarborough before going to Pickering. Like I lived on the outskirt of Scarborough.
So that's
brand new
would you-
neighborhood.
Would you even consider that Toronto? That's not even like.
Of course, it's in Toronto. Everywhere has a border. What are you talking about?
So you do consider that Toronto?
What do you mean consider it Toronto? It is in Toronto. What are you talking about?
Is that a separate city? Is that so
it's
far
in
out there?
Scarborough. What are you talking about?
Is Scarborough even Toronto? That's the question.
Of course it is. What are you talking about?
Damn,
man?
bro.
This guy.
Remember, I'm not from here. I never said I was from here.
Okay, so you know about
I never said I was from here.
So they had the amalgamation. You know, they had the new mega city, and there was like a huge amalgamation because everything.
I
was
know.
Sort of
I didn't even know.
separate
I didn't
before.
know that was a single event. When was this?
Oh Christ. Gonna go with. Was that around 2000, Patrick? The new mega city. You remember that term?
Yeah, the amalgamation. Started in like the early 2000s.
The early
So that's where the
2000s, around them.
GTA comes from.
And then the first mayor of Toronto at that point became of the amalgamation. Was that Mel Lastman? That was the first one. Am I getting that right, Patrick? I hope I'm getting it right. I think he's fact checking.
Yeah,
I hope I'm getting.
just double checking.
Yeah, but there was an amalgamation.
Scarborough
right?
was its own city before that point.
Well, not so much its own city. It's just everything was separate. Like there was North York. There was, the new.
Richmond Hill, Markham, all that.
Richmond Hill, Markham is not Toronto.
Yeah, so it began in 1998. And
98.
Mel Lastman was the first one.
Was the first mayor? Yeah.
Yes.
That's why you have Mel Lastman Square. Yeah.
So Richmond Hill and Markham are not Toronto,
No,
but
not
Scarborough
at all.
is.
Scarborough is.
So
yeah.
Etobicoke to Scarborough.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you have North York as long as you're south of Steeles.
Okay, so
Right.
It's East York, Etobicoke,
East York,
North
Etobicoke.
York, Scarborough, and Old York's,
It's like
the old
downtown.
town kind of thing.
So your parents got that house pretty much at the perimeter of Toronto.
I'm literally like if at that house, if you looked out the back window of the house, we had the backyard, there was a horse stable. And then
The country started from there.
then there's a hill that goes down and you could see Welcome to Durham and see the next sign saying Pickering population. And once you pass that, you're in Pickering. That's where I grew up. So I was there from when I was 4 till my 20s, and then that was it.
So was that like the middle of a city and like farm life or something like that?
No, not at all,
Horse
because it turns
stable?
into a city. It's just like it's off. It's just Rouge Hill. It's where it turns into. It's not. There just happened to be a stable there. That's all it was.
Okay, I'm just
it wasn't
reading
like
into the
country. It
stable.
wasn't country.
I'm reading into the stable.
Yeah, no,
too
it
much.
wasn't country or anything like that. It was just there just happened to be a horse stable there, but it wasn't countryish or anything.
Did you ever go to like the hood and like your peers would be like, man, this guy's whack because you're like growing up in a nice area?
Because like well, first things first, like anything that my parents had us do was in Malvern, right? And Malvern is considered the hood, which it's not. I mean, there are bad parts of Malvern, just like there's bad parts of anywhere, but Malvern's still a really nice area, right?
When you say do, you mean go to school there? Things
Well,
like
yeah,
that?
because we went to public school. So if you go to public school, you're going to meet kids from everywhere across,
Yep.
the areas that they allow
The
you to go to
adjacent
school.
areas, yeah.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't anything like that at all, you know. Yeah, I mean, I went there, I hung out, and then, like, when my parents split, my dad went to Malvern. My parents had a rental property in Malvern. So, when my parents split, my dad went to Malvern. He kicked the people out who lived there, and he moved to that house.
Got it here.
And so I was in and out of Malvern like it was nothing.
Okay,
But,
so
yeah.
you weren't that outsider kid.
Well, still an outsider. I was still considered, this was the 90s, and my parents divorced in 96. So this is the 90s when
Tupac died. God damn.
Yeah.
That's a tough year to divorce. man.
Yeah. It was I growing up in Rouge Hill, like I said, skateboard, I BMX, I played tennis. I was considered
So you're a pretty privileged kid, man. Yeah, goddamn, bro. Like
privileged, you could say.
Yeah. That's what. Tennis, bro.
Yeah,
we stopped
yeah.
at tennis. That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yo, but on
So
that note,
we did that stuff. Yeah. Oh, were we on a break or
no,
something?
no. I was saying, do you remember when Tupac died? What grade you were in? Was it a big deal?
I was in 10th grade. It wasn't as big because we're East Coasters, so it was bigger when Biggie died than when Pac died.
Legit.
Yeah, because like the music didn't travel as far. Like I don't think there was as many Pac fans before he died as there was after he died. But in
You're
the East
right.
Coast, there was a lot of Biggie fans.
You're right. That's a good point.
But again, it's just an East Coast thing. And I mean, if you study some of those documentaries, all those West Coast rappers, they were going platinum without even having any spins on the East Coast. So like Mac Dre was getting...
So they were getting
Mac
full
Dre,
love from the West?
Hell yeah. Mac Dre, Cube, those guys were getting spins. They were getting like Literally, they're getting spins on spins on spins, but
I mean,
nothing on
plays.
the East Coast. Yeah, radio play, and they're not getting anything on the East Coast at all. And the records
still
are
going platinum.
and still going platinum.
So
right?
full support from the West.
Hell yeah,
Full California
it was a
support.
huge, East Coast West Coast thing. So,
But Biggie had sales in the West as well. Biggie had plays.
I mean,
everywhere.
everyone had a tiny bit of sales everywhere, but I mean, for the most part, there was a lot of artists they weren't playing Common on the West Coast. They weren't playing, Mobb Deep on the West Coast. They weren't playing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a real
Wu-Tang.
beef.
Wu-Tang?
No, Wu-Tang was universal, man.
Yeah.
They had to play Wu-Tang everywhere. Wu-Tang was good everywhere.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, of course.
Yo, I just
Yeah.
watched their documentary on Showtime. They're like 4-part documentaries. And
Yeah,
shit. Yo,
yeah. I
fell
mean, we
in
grew up
love.
with Wu, so I mean,
I
we
fell in
have.
love.
I mean, between my brother and I, we still have the cassette tapes of every Wu album. I remember
Do you remember when 36 came out?
all that. We had 36 memorized, dog.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Did it take over? What album do you remember in your like whole youth that just stopped everything?
I'll tell you right now,
over.
it was Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban
Cuban
Links.
Links?
That was the greatest, man. That was 95, and that was wild, man.
Do you remember it?
I think that was the greatest. That's in my top 5 greatest albums of all time.
Like when that shit came out, everyone was on the tracks. Everyone was like, everyone was
Everybody
memorizing
in the
these
school
tracks.
was listening to that
Album.
specific album. Yeah. So
Fuck yeah. I can't I can't even pretty much nowadays it's pretty much just Drake. Just Drake albums are really the only albums with that like when they drop, that's what everybody's listening to.
I think it's because you're here in the city. I mean, when you hit the South, anything Young Gunna drops, anything Young Thug drops,
Kevin
anything
Gates.
Rich Homie Quan,
Kevin Gates is
Kevin
huge
Gates,
in the
like
South.
those
Yeah.
guys are huge in the South. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes the music doesn't travel as far.
But Drake's popular as fuck everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. No, he's
Yeah.
an international superstar. He's number one in the game. He's in the top 3.
yeah,
right?
but when I
So-
was in the South, for sure, everyone's talking Kevin Gates.
of course, yeah, of
And
course.
here, no one really talks about Kevin
Nobody
Gates.
talks
at all.
about Kevin Gates. No,
Yeah.
no. It's the same thing with even Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. You know what I mean? Like he was huge in the West Coast. He wasn't as big in the East Coast.
I didn't
right?
even know about him until he died, bro.
Yeah.
And then someone sent me his track, and I'm like, oh, I heard this track.
Yeah. So I mean, it's sad, R.I.P. But that's what was going on from the '90s, concerning the regional music. When you asked about Pac.
95, 94, 95, 96, the best albums. You can go through, man.
course.
The craziest albums came
Of
out
course.
those years, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Illmatic.
Illmatic was
Do or
93.
Die. Huh?
Illmatic was 93.
But Do or Die, AZ, The Main Ingredient, Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Oh yeah.
What else? Like
Craig Mack's
Mobb
first
Deep,
album
The
dropped.
Infamous.
Yeah,
That was like
Mobb
94,
Deep.
95,
Yeah.
96.
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me, I think was 94. Yo, those were the years for music. That's my favorite thing about music is that like there's so many art forms that they kind of lose their appeal with time, but you can put on an amazing
classic.
track.
That's what classic
over
music
and
is.
over and over again. I put on the I have to stop playing the Infamous just because I'm ruining it for myself. So I got to give myself 2-3 months off of it. Do you ever do that? Where you're like, I gotta stop listening to this just so I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just so I can get that feeling when I put it back in the
Put it back in,
that's my
yeah,
shit. So my shit is Jay-Z. So.
Temperature Rising. That's Jay Z for you.
I'm like, I have every Jay-Z album. I've seen him in concert like 8 times.
Dead Presidents or what?
Everything. Like I've had shit memorized, like albums memorized. It's my
Actually, it
shit.
wasn't called Dead Presidents. It's called Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite Jay Z album? The Blueprint.
No. It's probably gonna be. It's probably Volume 3. I think Volume 3 was like next level. I'd say Blueprint. It's between Volume 3 and Blueprint. Yeah. Volume 3 is the one that had Big Pimpin' on it.
Oh, and what about H to the Izzo?
That was on Blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was all over that, man. I got whatever Jay-Z albums in the car right now. I always got a few in there just in case.
Was Jay Z the guy? Like, what? Do you remember if Jay Z ever like switched up music to business at any given point? Like,
No,
did he ever
was
go too
always
long?
No,
He was always on music and just doing
always.
business in the back.
Yeah, always. Oh, anytime you had anything Jay-Z. So we I mean, like, them times my man Johnson was in, his brother was a
Who?
DJ.
Sorry, what'd you say?
My man Johnson.
Okay,
His brother was a DJ in New York, and we went to school together. And Johnson was from the hood. Like, he's from Markham and Eglinton. Like, he's from the hood. Not the rap hood, the real hood.
Yeah,
you know?
okay, yeah.
And Johnson, like, he'd get the tapes from us. But them times, the biggest shit ever. Ask anybody who knows anything about East Coast hip hop from 95, I'd say from 94, maybe around 94, 95, right up until about 2001. The Clue tape is the biggest thing ever. If you can get the DJ Clue tape, that was the biggest shit ever.
I haven't even heard the DJ Clue tape.
Yeah, DJ Clue.
That was his tag?
Yeah, and because he talked over the music all the time. You're like, DJ Clue, DJ Clue.
What rappers were on it?
Everybody. He just put out mixtapes, and he'd get because his shit was so hot. Rappers would be like, yo, let me get on the Clue tape. And he'd put everybody on it.
The Clue tapes?
Yeah.
I've never even heard that.
Okay, you ever heard of Jay-Z and Maya, Best of Me?
How does it go, the hook?
Yes, to y'all and Jigga Man be ballin', leave chicks pigeon-toed, some of them be ballin'. You know what I'm saying? Leave chicks pigeon-toed, some of them be crawling.
Patrick will bring that up. What was it called real quick?
Get the best of you whenever I put my all in.
This was from the Clue
Have
tape.
mom and screaming for the love, y'all in. Jigga and Paulin, ass drop. Mad because I brag about the cash I got, but I'm used to not having a lot. I'm from the gutter and anyway, that song with him and Maya, that was off the Clue tape.
Yeah,
Whenever I put my all in.
Yo. I'm going to
Ass
download
drop.
this. Is it Clue tape a single one, or is it a series?
No, yes, he's dropping Clue tapes every month.
Yeah.
From the gutter in. That's what he said. I'm the type to interior decorate the watch. Heavy rate on the block.
Yo, you're a Jay-Z fan, I can tell.
Holla. You didn't know this shit, but this shit was massive, and it was in one of them movies, man. One of them big movies, and then I don't know if it was Bad Boys or one of them joints. It was on like the soundtrack. That was back when they made really good soundtracks to movies.
To movies,
you know?
yeah.
You remember
hell
that? That was an
yeah,
art form
yeah,
that
you can
died,
tell.
eh?
You can tell.
Fuck, that was an art form that died. But anyway, that was when you listen to that song, you'll hear Clue talking on it. You know what I'm saying? Because that was
Clue.
That was originally, and he do that was his
Before
thing.
Diddy?
Before Diddy, Clue had the streets popping. Like, Diddy was always involved in the music, but, you know, Clue had the street. You had to get your hands on the Clue tape. You had to.
And there was limited supplies? People weren't just burning it? Or?
No, it's just who's in New York to get it. I mean, this shit is, bro, burning.
This is before Napster. This is before.
We're talking
tapes,
cassette tape. This is 95.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? So Johnson's brother was about 10 years older than him. So Johnson used to go to New York all the time, and he'd be like, his brother would just send him a Clue tape. And that shit was, he used to make dubs and everything, but you had to get your hands on the Clue tape. And that was the hottest thing. Like, and he would drop a tape like every other month.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And
man.
it was wild. So so think DJ Khaled now, but it was Clue in the 90s.
Prolific, just dropping it.
Way bigger than what, like,
Before
it was
Snapchat.
big for the streets. Like, obviously Khaled's gonna get like Grammys and stuff and nominations, but
'Cause
this
he's
set the
industry
foundation.
recognized, yeah.
This is what set the foundation. You'd have to give Clue a Lifetime Achievement Award because there's no Khaled without Clue. Yeah,
Fuck yeah, man.
that's the realest shit.
Yo, I feel like I have like a homework now to go check this shit out. Yo, I'm all about that,
DJ
man.
Clue, DJ Clue. Yeah, I had a little bit of echo on him, like DJ Clue, Clue.
Everybody, everybody, they make their DJ tag a little bit perfect, right?
That's Clue started that.
If young Metro don't love you, he gonna shoot you. That's like young Metro Boomins.
Well, that's because he's producing, so he had a signature tag for producing. You know what I'm saying?
Clue
That's what
did?
he was doing. No.
Metro.
That's what Metro Boomin's doing.
Oh, I thought
You know
that's what
I'm
Clue
saying?
was doing. Clue just came on the track and would like.
Clue put together the mixtape. Some of the songs he produced, some of the songs he didn't.
Oh,
but
gotcha. He curated the whole thing.
He curated the whole thing. And this is, people are like, yo, what's the next hottest shit? The next hottest shit is whatever Clue
puts
drops.
together. Gotcha.
100%.
So he's the guy. He's
Yep.
like.
He had everybody on it, man. Everybody was on the Clue tape. If you could get on the Clue tape, you're popping.
Yeah,
That's what you
That's how you
wanted.
took off.
100%. He was the hood DJ Johnny Carson. Like, that's how you got on.
The Clue tape.
If you was on the Clue tape, like if your song was on the Clue tape, everybody heard it. Because everybody.
Is there anything like that now? It's
No.
kind of like it's
No.
kind of being like featuring on a Drake song.
Sure.
I guess, right?
Sure.
Like something that everybody's gonna hear is kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, brother. You got any corporate gigs coming up, my man?
I
I know
have a
that's
few.
your bread and butter.
I'm not gonna say any names.
I know
but
that's your
got a
bread and
few.
butter.
I got corporates.
Yeah,
you know.
that's pretty much. That's like the bulk of
Yeah.
the comedy stream for you, right? Is
Yeah,
these
yeah,
corporate gigs.
Yeah.
You had any like nightmare scenarios from?
No, I've had good times at corporates. I've never had a problem at corporates. So I worked clean for a really long time. So my first maybe 10 years of doing comedy, I was clean. So it was an easy transition. And even now when I write jokes, like I don't need any vulgarity in the joke for it to be funny. If I want to add it to it or not, depending on my environment, it's fine. But my jokes can easily transition from clean to more relatable in a relaxed setting. But either way, they're always just funny. So I worked clean for maybe the first 10 years of my comedy. So it's nothing for me to be clean. So I bounced around, did a lot of corporates, and then it just sort of like a snowball effect. I'll do a corporate and get 3 gigs off of it, easy. It's like
And 3 gigs off of that corporate.
100%.
Oh, so it's
All
like
the
a
time.
network. It's like a spider effect.
100%.
You do-
Well, people want to go with who they can trust, right? Like a lot of people will say, like they can Google somebody, but they want to go with who they can trust, right? If I say to you,
If you're
this is
funny
my man
tonight,
and he's funny,
yeah, exactly.
you're gonna listen to me over Google,
Yeah, without a
right?
doubt.
So it's just what it is.
Word of mouth. Is it 45-minute? Like
No,
with
it all
corporate
varies.
sets?
Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's half, sometimes it's an hour.
Does somebody-
Sometimes they want you to host. It's whatever.
Do people open, or usually with these corporate gigs, do they
Sometimes it's more than one comic. Sometimes it's just you. It all varies. Yeah.
Man, I'm not long in the game, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like entranced by the idea of like having consistent work. And I know, it's down the road and all that stuff, but it's like sick. Man.
Yeah,
I
you
see
can make it. You can make
I
consistent
appreciate you,
work.
brother.
Yeah, for sure. You can, absolutely.
I appreciate you, man. You've always been very positive.
Well, you have it, man. There's a lot that you have that you don't even know you have. You know what I'm saying? You have.
That's some shit. That's some wax on, wax off shit right
Yeah,
there.
it's just like, no, but it's like I see you at the mics. I see you trying new stuff. I see trying new stuff is key. You're trying new stuff. A lot of people aren't trying new stuff. They get this laugh and they go, well, I got to go everywhere and perform this and get this laugh. And they sort of stop at this laugh, and that's why a lot of people have jokes and, they're just kind of like, oh, I'm just saying my jokes and getting these laughs. And there's more to that. There's more to comedy than that. And you feel that way when you watch your favorite comics.
Hell yeah.
So, it's not just them making you laugh. It's them,
Think.
everything else that comes that they make you feel. So there's more to that. So I've seen that when I seen you perform. I've seen that you were trying new stuff. I've seen that you were sort of steering away from what everybody thinks is common to talk about. I love when you talked about your experience in Nashville, and you with the homies, and they're like, hey, listen, man, if anything pops off, we got your back. And you're like,
What the fuck's gonna happen?
You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody's got to speak on that. A lot of people have heard that before, and now somebody's talking about it. I've heard that with people.
You know what I'm talking
before.
about?
I've heard that. I've been with people, and that is said before. That's been said before.
Just for reference, I used to work in Tennessee, and I was dating a girl one time, a white girl, and me and her and all her friends and all their boyfriends all go to a bar, and when we're outside, all the guys are like, yo, no matter what happens in there tonight, we got your back. And I'm like, and then one of them's like, no one's fucking with us tonight. I'm like, what the fuck is about to happen in this bar,
It's cool to see you dig deep and try to, pull it, because you pulled the comedy out of that situation.
Yeah.
I'm sure
you
at that
been in
time,
that situation too?
to some degree, but it's just to hear you find the comedy in something like that is unique. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'd find anybody else that has a joke like that.
I appreciate you, man.
And even when I ran the open mic and you came through And I remember you came through all the time. You're there with your notes and you're trying new stuff. And I remember, you told us about your brother and stuff like that. That stuff was deep. And there's comedy in things, and you have to take the risk to find it. You know what I'm saying? And I see you doing that. And I see a lot of, newer comics not taking the risk to try to find it. They just go for what will get them the quick laughs. I hate Trump. So do you. He's an idiot, or I was jerking off. And it's like, yo, you're just doing some cheap shit, not.
I got ghosted.
I got whatever. I ghosted.
Yeah. Well, there's something there.
There's something there.
You were
There's something
on a bit. You got type 5 on that. Well, I mean, let's not rule it out.
People are just sort of going for what they think everyone wants to hear. And I liked hearing some of the stuff when you weren't, going for what everybody wanted to hear. I felt like you had some stuff that stood out, I should say.
Man, I appreciate that. It's the first time in my life I'm actually obsessed with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always had this energy and whatever, bandwidth to pursue stuff, but I never really pursued it fully. Get this, cram really hard for this test so I can get this mark, but I don't give a fuck about retaining this knowledge. I'm just trying to get this mark. I'm just trying to get this result. You know what I mean? This is the first time where it's like, I'm looking at doing things the hardest way possible, the going off the beaten path. Because I think I really do. Because comedy is a game where there is no shortcuts at all. For 2 years, I was just like, yo, what is it? What do I got to do? Let me talk to these older guys. There's probably tricks. I can maybe skip a couple years if I learn their mistakes. There isn't, though.
No, there's It's so corny, but I just saw it on the internet. It's super corny. It's corny, but it's real.
Go for it. Just say it.
It's so corny, though. The only time success comes before work is in the dictionary.
Oh, shit. I've never heard that. That's fucking good, though. That's not that corny.
It's real, yeah. It's real shit. You actually have to. You got to do it. You got to do the work. So, yeah.
It's fucking hard, man. God damn. You've been in the game, what, 17 years. In the 17 years you've been in, what takes comedians out of the game more than anything else?
I'm not trying to get too deep, but it's like a Buddhist mentality where it's like, if you desire something, all suffering comes from desire, right?
Yeah.
So people desire a certain thing, and when they don't get it, at least when they want it, sometimes that eggs them out of the game. So it's like they're doing it for X amount of time, and they desire to get this, and this, and they don't get it.
In this time frame.
Sure. That sometimes people quit off that. The pay gets people out there.
Yeah.
Significant others gets people off there.
Like getting married and shit.
Yeah, because, husband and wife will say, listen, you got to bring home this paper. You got to be here with these kids. These are all things that are, I've seen those things.
It's pretty much life.
Anything in life, yeah,
Life stops people out of this thing.
Well, I think if you're stopping, you're never really.
You're never
really. Any relationship I've had, they know
what the priority
is. Comedy's coming first. I got to get this popping. There is no argument about, what do you mean not coming to my sister's birthday party? Listen, I got a show. I get there late or I get there early and I have to leave early or whatever it is. They know what it is. But you also have to, put your foot down. A lot of comics, they don't get a lot of action. So they finally start getting action and they prioritize that action.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen certain
3
comics.
months, they're gone. And then they're out of the relationship. They're back in the open mics.
Gone. I've seen that many times where, people get some, some comics just
They had no other opportunity before comedy. Comedy
right.
gave
And all of a sudden this girlfriend's like, yo, are you going out again? And they're like, no, I ain't going out. No, I'm right here.
Nothing.
And more importantly, just what they're doing, they're fucking, they're getting their dick sucked. This is the first time they're getting their dick sucked in 10 years or whatever. I'm wilding. Maybe this is the first time they're getting their dick sucked in 3 years. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 years. And they're like, holy shit, I'm
it's hard to walk away. It's hard to walk away.
I'm fucking. I'm getting this pussy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I'm.
Fuck that open mic.
Fuck that up. That mic ain't doing shit for me. Ain't nobody gonna be there. And so I've seen that happen.
When I first got in this, man, people would constantly ask me. They'd be like, "Oh, that's sick. That's sick. How long are you gonna give it? How long are you gonna give it?"
Before. Wow.
People constantly. So what do you like? What do you think? Like 5 years? How long are you gonna give it? Like what the people have such a built-in
I've never
mentality
heard that
to
before.
quit.
Wow.
Yo, people were asking me all the time, "How long are you gonna give it?"
Wow.
Like there's this built-in failure. Like, well, I mean, if you don't make it in 6 years, well, then, buddy, you just gotta wake up and smell the flowers.
And of course, you have to define what making it is. You know, there's plenty of comics you'll never know that make $150,000 a year doing this shit, and you don't even know them. That's making it.
That's making it 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what making it is?
You own your house, you own your car, your wife, your kids going to university, and you paying for that.
Everyone's eating.
That's making it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you don't get these specials or this, that, and the third doesn't mean you got to define that for yourself.
People think making it is Kevin Hart.
That's
it.
it.
If you don't reach Kevin Hart shit, then what was it? You shouldn't have never left the office.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I mean, it's important to sort of have some expectations and have some realistic expectations and realistic desires, but it happens.
So you're obviously doing what you love. Right,
For sure.
That goes without a doubt. 17 years in the game.
For sure,
You
yeah.
are where you are because of what you love, right?
For sure, yeah.
And you hang out with people you've known for a minute, people who've been your cousins, your boys, whatever. A lot of people around you who've been doing a job. Been doing jobs, right? There's not a lot of people that I surround myself that there's a couple of people, absolutely, but there's not a lot of them who are doing what they do out of passion. 'Cause
Right.
we all got sold on the same thing. Get the degree, get the job, get the house, get the car, and then you're locked into all these things. So it's hard to be like, but is this my passion? It's hard at that point, right?
Yeah.
So my problem that I'm having a little bit is I'm hanging around like a lot of my close friends, and like sometimes the talk comes up, be like, "Yo, guys, but are you following your passion?" Like, man, shut the fuck up. You're struggling financially. You don't get to talk to us about that. But you're at a point where you're not struggling financially. Do you ever bring up that
Hold on.
idea?
Easy. I'm still
Bro,
struggling
you're getting by.
financially.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yo. Listen.
Listen,
If you're
man.
struggling financially,
I'll tell you
bro,
this, I'll
that
tell you this.
Cayenne was a wrong move.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
All right.
Yes,
Yo,
it was. Listen.
I deliver cookies during
Listen,
the day, bro.
I bought the Porsche because I got insecurities. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to make up for my insecurities.
That's what we all do.
That's what we do.
That's why I had the 4 Series, bro.
Why do we buy cars?
Yeah.
To impress chicks. These girls ain't fitting to be with no guys who don't drive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you drive a really nice car, these girls are way more interested in you. Like I'm just, and they may not even be the ones you want. But hey, it's nice to have some of that attention. If you can give me more to choose from, I'll take it. I think I'll make a better decision than if I only have a few to choose from. But what I'm saying is that sometimes, I mean,
like pretty much what I'm saying.
not. Yeah, go ahead.
Like you're around your friends, and
Yeah.
you're fucking happy because you followed your passion, bro.
Yeah,
and
but
a
it's
lot
not
of the people
over.
around. I know it's not over.
Yeah.
But a lot of people around you are like not passionate about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about like trying to switch the job, something's up, and it's like anytime I try to bring up like the idea of when I say like, yo, you gotta find your passion, people look at me almost like, yo, man, life is amazing. Like I'm almost talking like this childish, happy, glowy shit that they're like, yeah, shut up, man. I got a mortgage, man. Shut the fuck up.
I think people think that they confuse passion. They think passion is art. So as soon as they say like, "Oh, you gotta find your passion,"
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't do
they're like,
comedy,
well, I
man.
don't do comedy.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly,
act.
exactly. That's
I
what
don't
I'm saying.
sing. And it's
Exactly,
like,
that's
yo,
what
bro,
I'm saying.
your passion could be helping the homeless. Your passion could be a coding for IBM. That could very well be your passion, but you have to follow it. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's not easy.
You're right.
That's
They
the
right
biggest,
away
the
go
biggest
to
thing
art.
is
They're
not
like,
easy.
I didn't. Well, I'm not a
100%.
comedian. Right away, they dismiss it. Like, yo, man.
Yeah, and I dated a few girls like that they were somewhat envious of the fact that, like I'm out every night, I'm doing this show, or they're coming with me and they're seeing what I'm doing, and and they're kind of like sitting there like, man, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like, I'm just trying to do what you do. Like you feel like, it feels like you live good. I do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I love doing
10
comedy.
years before
but,
that.
Say it again.
She didn't see the 10 years before that.
Oh, that's the
She's
Picasso
just popping
story.
up. She's just popping up to the shows. Like, damn, you're killing it.
That's
right?
the Picasso. And yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. I mean, I fucked up in the past, but I would have been nice to have one girlfriend for the whole journey.
What do you
know
mean by the Picasso story?
Well, it's so when Picasso was the biggest thing, like the biggest thing in Italy. What he would do is sometimes people would be at bars or restaurants or whatever, and they'd be eating, but then the bill would come and they all couldn't afford it. And then what Picasso would do is he would take the receipt, like the bill, and he would draw something on the back and then sign it and say, yo, don't worry about it, like I'm covering it. And he would give that to the waitress.
Legit?
This is 100% real facts. And then what happened was, so he did it one time. And this waitress was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, just give me the money. Like, this is ridiculous. Like,
Bitch,
like, give me a break.
am?
Like, it took you 10 seconds to draw this. And he said, yo, it took me 10 years to draw that in 10 seconds.
Damn.
That's the realest shit.
That's a quote?
That's the realest shit ever. Hell yeah.
Yo, that's fucking ballin' ass shit.
Yeah, that's real shit. Yeah, that's real shit.
It took me 10 years.
To draw that in 10 seconds. So you have to think of, so like you said, people see the end result. They don't see the grind that goes into it. You know what I mean? I bought a car and then people just think, oh, well, this guy's just balling or whatever. I was on the bus for 10 years. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? You forgot that. You forgot I was starving. You forgot when, you know what I mean? Like I'm not rich by any means. You know, I'm just out here trying to keep the check engine light off like everybody else, right? And save money. And remember I showed you that meme? Bro. Did I show you that meme? Remember you were telling me how you spent all this money on you got this money from the commercial and you spent all of this on fixing up your car or whatever,
trying to get that check engine off.
I think I sent you that meme and it said people who have cars, we save up all this money to do something cool and then we end up like, and then you see the check engine on your car. Fuck. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like everybody else, but it's just I do what I love and that's it. That's why sometimes I always think about that. I'm like, yo, it would have been nice, man, if I just had one girlfriend for the whole journey, she would have understood better than some girls that come into the journey later on in life. You know what I mean? So, but it's whatever.
I'm going to remember that. I'm going to try to remember that shit.
What?
Avoiding like having like the value of having someone witness the whole journey alongside with you.
Man, I wish somebody had told me that. Listen, I've had some amazing girlfriends in the past, some really amazing ones, some truly amazing ones that it hurts that, I fucked things up with between the two of us. But I only wish somebody had said to me, listen, man, I mean, people have told me, yo, hang on to your girl. She's a wicked girl, this, that, and the third or whatever. And people have told me, but you're young and you're wild and you're not listening to anybody and, whatever. But it was, you look at things now where you get certain successes now and you wish you could have shared it with them because they were there when you didn't have it.
Yeah, they were legit when you had nothing.
They were there when you had nothing. And it's like you're here and you're like, shit, I wish I could go back and be like, yo, just so you know I got this. And, you were there when I didn't have nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling, but, I had other experiences too. So shit, they ain't bad experiences.
You're in the game, man. Like we said, so many people are out of that class of 60. There's 3. So here the fuck you are. Man.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I just feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
I
feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
I'm gonna look up class of fucking 2004 or whatever it is.
It would have been 2000.
There's actually 6 of them active, Quinn.
It would have been 2003. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. I'm sure it is. But yeah, so.
Again, this everything said in this podcast is not source checked.
Opinions expressed
are not
reflective of.
These are the ideas of and notions of immigrants and children.
Yeah, whatever.
Motherfuckers that don't know shit.
Yeah, and the whole thing was, remember, you first approached me with the podcast idea, and I was like, listen, man, I'm not fitting to do your podcast because I thought it was just like you were just interviewing like immigrants and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, man, I'm born here, like. I didn't feel like I fit in, but I appreciate you reaching out and
yeah, man. I think it's that's what people think. I have people on here that are like, are we gonna be talking about immigrant? I'm like, no. The whole point is to have a dialogue that has immigrant perspective. That's really what it is.
100%. And that comes from like there's so much of things that I'm doing now that come from.
Your mom, bro.
From my mom.
Yeah, that's
so
when
much from my mom.
When I hear you how pinpoint you got your mom's accent down and how it's it's the crutch of a lot of your bits because a lot of
Jamaican, like I can do my mom's accent.
Well, you have it down for the stage perfectly because it's a lot of your bits.
Well, yeah, 100%, 100%. And shout out my man B. My man Brandon, he was the one because his mom is the same way. And, oh shit, I hope I don't get him in trouble by saying that. His mom and my mom are like so similar. and he's Jamaican too. And like we
Like
were
just cranky.
We were just oh man, and we were just like, to say the least, like, and we would talk on the phone.
Quinn.
We would go back and forth, and it'd be like, "Yo, did your mom ever say this to you?" Like, "Yo, did your mom ever say this?" And we used to go back and forth all the time, right? And so he's like, "Yo, you gotta put this shit on stage." I'm like, "Nah, I ain't putting this shit on stage." And he's like, "Yo, you gotta put this shit on stage." And then sure enough, I just started putting the shit on stage, and people eat it up.
That's my favorite shit for sure.
And it's also it's everybody picks up on it. You know, I'm doing shit in like, you know, in the South, like I'm in Florida, or, you know, I'm in Atlanta, and people come up to me like, "Yo, I'm Italian." And that shit you said about your mom is the exact same shit my mom does. And it's it's just immigrant parents all together, as opposed to just a Jamaican mom. It's immigrant parents that all think roughly the same way. You know what I mean? And people like resonate with it.
The way you have your moms. I've never heard your mom speak. I've never met your mom, but I can tell you have just the way you do the impersonation of your mom is so clear of the years of nagging that you've Quinn, like you could just see it in the tone of your voice is such a perfect depiction of the years of nagging that you took on to be able to.
I still take. That I still take.
Quinn,
you know.
hit us with a little bit of that. What did your mom most recently tell you when your last conversation with her?
So it was her birthday just last month there, and I got an iPhone for her birthday. You saw, I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook. I put the clip on the wall. It's pretty funny.
Were you in the car at the time?
No,
you weren't.
Oh man,
I saw a clip with you in the car, and there was some interaction.
I pretended like Florida person trying to take money.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And she's like,
she's like,
so she's like, okay. So for the birthday, I got her an iPhone, and sure enough, she's like, "Well, you know, you're not really supposed to be spending so much money, you know." Or like with the money, I was like
you can't just be happy. You know?
Like it's you can't win.
Can't win.
You can't win. You just can't win. And so I put like we were in the car together, and I was like, "Yo, mom, like I'll drive you home, right?" Because it was like a lot of traffic, but I'm like, "Yo, I'll drive you home." And she's like, "No, I'll take the bus." I'm like, "Mom, I'll drive you home." "No, I will just take the bus then." And I always clown her. I'm like, "So let me get our money. Let me get a little money." And I reached over to her purse, and she's like, "I know that's why you link up with me, you know. I know it's because you want money. But you never should have did buy this car. If you want money, you know if you buy this car. People will buy this car. Them have money. But you don't have any money. You just spend all your money and figure, say, I go buy a big car and then ask me for money." And I'm like, holy fuck. And you just kind of laugh it off.
She's got you on point.
You laugh it off and you have a good time with it.
Yo, man.
But so much of my comedy has contributed to my mom, and you know, my dad bounced, and it was like, you know, it's all I had left was my mom. So we're close.
I can tell in those videos that you guys are fucking close. You clown a lot on stage and shit. But I can
absolutely
tell you guys.
And don't get it twisted. My mom comes to any show I want her to come to.
Yeah,
she will be at any show, and she comes to shows. And listen, the only reason why I don't like my mom at shows is because she's the fucking star at shows.
She heckles or what?
No, she's just famous. Like, people come to me like, "Yo, is that your mom?" I'm like, "Yeah." And yo, I'm gonna go talk to your mom. And it's like, I remember I did a show. My mom came one time, and I swear to God, man, I put everything on stage. I got off stage. I'm there trying to like, yo, maybe I'm like, you know, I'm gonna meet some people, make some contacts. There was like literally like 17 people around my mom, just talking to her like, yo, I'm talking to Colleen. Like, wow, I'm talking to her.
Did you guys catch that set? I've got cards.
Famous.
I've got cards.
My mom's famous.
Like, man, Quinn, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Super famous.
Why didn't you tell us your mother was here, Quinn?
She has no idea how many inboxes I get about her. Where people are like, "Yo, what your mom saying? Is she good? Yo, happy birthdays," and all this shit. Like, they love my mom. So she's amazing. You know what I mean? It's a Jamaican thing. I heard that my Uncle Morris used to say the same thing to me. He said, even if your mom cooks up a pot of shit and throws it on you, you're still supposed to love your mom. So, you know, we've had our rough patches, but, you know, you just turn that into gold. You know what I mean?
I fucking love that shit, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yo, again, I appreciate you coming on. Take this time, plug whatever you want to plug, man. If you got, I know a lot of your shit's corporate, so you're not putting out public dates and shit like that. But I don't want to put you, you know, on the spot. But plug what you want to plug, bro.
Yo, check us out, man. Right here at Night Owl I think it's 674, 694 College Street. I think it's 674 though. The place is called Night Owl. Thursday, December 5th, we got the Wave series. Me and my man Plus Mo are putting that on. I'm the comedy and he's got the music popping. We just sold out the last one. Everything wavy. We're the hottest shit. We're the wave. So come true. Check out the Wave series. Man, hit me up on all the social medias, man. At Quinn the Comic on Twitter, at Quinn the Comic on Instagram, and also on Snapchat. I'm Quincent, QUINNCENT. Find me on Facebook. I mean, I'm just always working, man. So.
I love Quincent on Snapchat.
Yeah. You know what happened?
That's for the female listeners exclusively.
Quincent, QUINNCENT.
You know, you gotta get a lot of brown dicks on that.
I can't stand when that happens, man. Some dudes be like. Snapchat is strictly meant to women. Like, I don't want any dude snapping me nothing.
You gotta make that clear, man.
Yeah,
I love how you put that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna, as always, I list all of your handles in the description.
Of course, yeah,
so
yeah.
you
Okay,
don't
cool.
need to memorize anything here.
Yeah.
And from my end, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, just leave a 5-star review. If you're always remember, YouTube full videos come out on the Friday following the release of whatever the podcast come out on Tuesday. So check it out on YouTube. Subscribe to the page. Thanks so much for listening to the Immigrant Section. Tell your friends about the Immigrant Section. Let's grow this shit.
Yeah.
Let's grow it. Quinn, thanks so much for coming through. And peace. Thanks for listening.
And one more thing before I go. I just want to say thank you for not only having me on the show, but having me on some of the shows that you've produced. I really appreciate that. I mean, I think a couple of them I just passed by to support. Really wasn't looking to go on, and you still squeezed me on. And I appreciate you doing that, my brother, because that's what we need to do. We need to help each other out to grow and advance. So I really appreciate that, man.
Man, black actors, bro. We got to stick together.
Well, that and I'm really good at this shit. Let's be honest.
100%. That's the Plus Time Comedy Show. That's the first Thursday of every month in Toronto at the Free Times Cafe.
Yeah.
My boy Quinn is a regular drop in there. He gets booked, but he's always free to drop in, and he's a favorite among a lot of the regulars we have at the show. He comes in and he rips it up like a 17-year comic does.
I try my best, man.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much for coming through, bro.
Man.
And you're going to come back on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening. Peace.